Are you about to pick your next book you want to read for this summer? I've got the perfect book for you. Do you like romance? Do you like, let's see, what else? Romance and fantasy. Romance and fantasy. We have an author here who's written this book right here, Desperation. Desperation. And let me see if I can find her. There she is. Welcome, Becca Ryden.
Hello.
Did I get the title right? Desperation.
Yeah, desperation.
Now, it's fantasy, it's romance. Tell us a little bit about this book.
Yeah, so just to coin the term romantasy here, it is a fantasy romance. It's based in current day, and it follows the storyline of two main characters, Charlotte and Art. The main theme is a royal engagement gone wrong. It starts out with Charlotte's parents having been murdered. It kind of starts out dark, but it just leads the rest of the book to find a little bit of happiness. Charlotte flees from her dead parents. She thinks that her betrothed, Art, murdered them. He didn't actually. So the whole book is about her, growing up as a woman and then him finding her about 13 years later and understanding who she is. So it's a slow burn romance that has all sorts of tropes in it, like secret identity. He falls first because he knows who she is and he's always been in love with her, but she doesn't know who he is the whole time. So it's but a book about them finding and understanding each other and fighting through a battle that has started, or a war that started in the other world or in this world, and eventually coming to some big conclusion. But it is the first book in a series, so it's slow burn, setting the stage for following books.
Now this is, I think, maybe a picture of Charlotte, kind of modern day dressed. And how do you say the guy's name?
Arik, like Eric, but with an R.
Arik. All right. And now they start off in our realm, I guess, in modern day times. And what are they in a country or a place we would recognize?
Yeah, actually, they're local to where I am. So I'm
Seattle.
Close to Seattle, Washington, and they are close to here as well.
Okay. Now, let me look at these pictures where they're dressed in futuristic or past costumes. Are these the same people?
Yeah, kind of. They're four different characters. So the blonde is Charlotte. She's our main character. The redhead is Arik, who is also another main character. And then you have the two supporting characters who are very integral to the storyline of Vera and Gregor. And they're twins, and they're quite hilarious. So they're adding just a little edge of comedy to the storyline.
Now, is this common to actually have pictures of your protagonists or your characters?
It can. It really helps readers go beyond what's just written and to visualize what who they're reading about. I like to include these pictures whenever I do in-person signings so that people can be like, oh, I recognize that person and I can see the actions that they're taking as you read the story.
Now, are they change realms or change times? What happens? Or should we read the book to find out?
No, I'm happy to go into it. We have two worlds. So we have modern day, and then we also have the other world, where all magical beings went about 400 years ago, which kind of explains or gives you like a feel of reality. Because, we don't have magic in current day. So everything is in this other world, which is where they came from and where they originate.
Okay. It kind of helps you suspend the disbelief. Well, yeah, there's always been magic. They just went to this other world.
Yes,
well,
exactly.
We haven't seen them for a few hundred years. Now, you said there's another book coming?
Yeah, so I've actually in the final rounds of editing for book 2, and I have book 3 outlined, so it should be a 3-part series.
I can't tell you how many times I've read a story and you think, man, I want more of these characters. I love a series like that.
Yeah, no, and I hope to bring that to readers too, because this 3-book series is about Charlotte, but there are plans in the work for doing more and really building out this world that they live in.
It amazes me, fantasy writers, how you get this creativity going. So it's amazing. And not just creativity amongst this world, but you create a whole nother realm out there somewhere.
Yeah. And one thing that I really like to do when I build my worlds is keep it close to reality. Mm-hmm. So they all, may be different elements, because my main characters are Deva. They control the elements. So like Charlotte's air, Arik's ice, but there's all sorts of other realms over there. Like Gregor and Vera are fire, and they speak different languages, but they also have a common tongue. I want to keep it tied close to reality so that it's really easy to potentially believe that it could be possible.
Yeah, that is great. Now, do you make this up in your head, or you sit down at the keyboard and create it right there?
Yeah, I mean, I dream about it. I like to sit there and fantasize because, fantasy is way more fun than reality. So who wouldn't want to be living off in a world where there's dragons and, fire-breathing monsters and stuff? It's just so much more fun.
How do you develop your characters? Do you do it as you go, or do you sit down and sketch out each character?
Yeah, so each character has a profile, but what I really love to do that adds an element to it is write a prelude to when they're going to be introduced. So you could build that backstory and just have that real texture of a person when you're interacting inside the book.
Okay. Now I know why I'm not an author. You got all these great. You got all these great. I'm a nonfiction author, kind of boring stuff. So, but what you're doing is just fascinating. How you come up with all this stuff. Tell me, when did you start this book?
Yeah, I mean, technically, I started it in high school, which was, a while ago, undisclosed. But no, I wrote it for my senior project, and then I'm a veteran, so I joined the Army straight out of high school. And when I got out and became a civilian again, I went, I wrote this thing, and it's awful. It's so naive. Let's redo it and make it something that people would really enjoy. So I picked it back up, and it was about, a year ago that I published it. So
wow. So it's been going for a while in your head. And my point I want to get to is when you're not at the keyboard and you're just walking through your day or out fighting in the war or whatever you were doing, are you creating stuff?
Yeah, I mean, especially today, I am. One thing that's great that I have the opportunity to do is, during lunchtime, break away from work. I don't want to sit there and think about requirements and spreadsheets. Yeah. I want to go and think about what I could do in that next scene.
Yeah. It sounds like you're really having a lot of fun with this.
Yes, it's a passion project for sure.
By the way, we didn't, before we came on the air, we said where you were, and you say these books are kind of set where you are. Tell us where that is.
Yeah, so Seattle, Washington. It mostly takes place in the South Puget Sound area.
Yeah. Does it ever rain there?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, we don't. Where we are, it never rains. It's, like I said, over 106 today, so it's amazing. Now, if we go to your web address, BeccaRyden.com, what will we find there?
Yeah, you'll find my blog. So this is where I post some of those prelude stories to get your characters introduced. Also blog stuff. And then you'll find links to where you can buy my book.
Okay. So if I'm reading this book and I'm in love with the characters and I want more, I could go to your website and find little tidbits, backstories, and stuff like that?
Yeah, and I'm posting new content all the time. So if you don't see something today, you can let me know, hey, I'd love to know more about Elaine. And I'd be happy to post some of the prelude story for her as well.
And can we order the book from your website?
No, but it does have links to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, as well as bookshop.org, where you can support a local bookstore online.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying bookshop.org. I haven't heard much about that, but every author's been mentioning that, so I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, it's great.
So there's a web address, BeccaRyden.com, and also we have your Instagram up there, so I like to follow people on Instagram as well. Becca, this is fascinating. I can't wait for the next book. We're out of time, but any last thoughts you want to tell our viewers or about your books, about you, or anything in the world?
No, I mean, desperation makes a great gift for anybody that needs but wants an introduction to fantasy romance. It's slow burn, not super spicy, and it's also great for all ages. I've had quite a few people get introduced to fantasy romance through it, so give it a chance.
Desperation. And I will take off on a theme you just introduced, and I'm one who has to go to a lot of parties, and I always would take a bottle of wine as a host gift. Now I take books. So
that's amazing.
When you go to Amazon to order this, or wherever you want to go, don't click once to order it. Click 5 times, order 5 of them, and you'll be able to give them away. No problem at all. Thank you, Becca. You're inspiring.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And even though I don't read a lot of fantasy and not much romance, you made this sound very interesting. I'm going to look into it. And for our viewers, don't go anywhere because we'll have another author right after this. Thanks, Becca.
Thank you.